Hey, what's up YouTube? So, it's Jairo Jamara fan, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Normally I play video games, as you probably know from watching this channel, but today I happened to be watching YouTube earlier, and I was watching a Zelda video, and as the YouTuber was talking about the story of Wind Waker, it began to feel very familiar. But not just because I played the game with it, but for another reason. I couldn't put my finger on it immediately. But then it clicked. There's a classic story of a civilization being destroyed by a flood sent by a divine power. Many religions across the world have talked about such a story, but no story is as well known as the story of Noah's Ark. However, among many other Christianic influences and inspirations present in the Zelda series, I'm here to tell you today that the Wind Waker is extremely similar to the story of Noah's Ark. And in today's video, we're going to go over the similarities and difference in the rendition of the classic story of flooding the earth. So in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, after we've been told about the stories of Adam and Eve and how sin was entered into the world, we are given an insight into what the world looked like in the early days. After being given and told many stories of lives in the early times, we get to the story of Noah. Now, Noah is tasked with a very important task by God in a direct conversation. God has decided to flood the earth due to an abundance of sin. Sin too dark and too corrupted to be redeemed without wiping the slate clean. But God has love and appreciation for Noah. And Noah has put all of his faith in God. So Noah, having this special relationship, is given the task to get sets of all the creatures and animals of the world and put them on a boat and build an ark. Similarly to the Book of Noah, if we go over to the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, we find that even though it's different because it is a story about multiple gods rather than one divine power or one god, the purpose of the flood, as the game portrays it directly, was not to purify and destroy sin itself, but to prevent the ruling of Hyrule under Ganondorf. As a last-ditch effort to seal him away, because there was no hero present at the time to stop him, the gods decided to destroy the land by sealing it all underwater. However, if you look deeper into the Zelda franchise of what Ganon is, you will find that this is very biblical. If we go back to the very beginning of the Zelda timeline, in Skyward Sword, we learn of an evil god called Demise. We learn of him after we find out from his subordinate, Girahim, that Girahim's plan is to release the imprisoned and resurrect Demise. Demise, we find out late in the game, is the imprisoned beast we have encountered numerous times. The imprisoned beast was sealed in the sealed grounds as a result of a direct conflict between him and Hylia, who rules over Skyloft, which is a city in the sky ruled by her in the clouds, right? If you look at Skyloft being ruled by a god, and it's a city in a sky, you see that is a very very similar to what the common visual depiction of heaven is like, a city in the sky. So when you look at Demise, who is the god of evil, and you learn that upon Demise's defeat by Link, a messiah of sorts, a mortal messiah, right, being sent by the goddess of that world, you see very similar attributes to the story of the Bible and having a mortal being destroy sin. But I'm not going to go off in that direction with this. We're going to specifically stay towards how this relates to the story of Noah's Ark. Going back towards that, if we look at what Demise is, upon his defeat, being the incarnate of all evil, when he is resurrected as a being known as Ganondorf, every Zelda game afterward, Ganondorf is continuously resurrected as a mortal version of Demise, the god of evil, or the incarnate of evil, the embodiment of sin, because sin is evil. So when you compare this back to Noah's Ark, the purpose of the flood was to destroy all sin from the world. And you compare this to Wind Waker, you see that the purpose to stop Ganon from ruling, the embodiment of all evil, is very similar. So even though at face value, the story is to stop Ganon from ruling, you see that in both the original Bible story of flooding the earth to destroy all sin, and in Zelda's interpretation, they're very similar. A divine power purifies the lands by flooding them. A very similar character to Noah, present in Wind Waker, is actually the character that is a boat himself, the King of Red Lions. Which at first glance you might go, okay, well the King of Red Lions would be more of a depiction of the Ark. But the Ark wasn't a sentient being in the Bible. It was just a ship measured in very specific cubits, made by Noah himself. However, the King of Red Lions was present during the flooding of his kingdom, and witnessed this firsthand, and then he played a major role in carrying the future generation of hero, Link, throughout the story. Much like the purpose of Noah's role, a guardian whose purpose was to create a ship that would carry generations of all animals into the future. So both the King of Red Lions and Noah play a major part in starting the future of the new world. After the waters that were sent to flood the earth finally yield, Noah sends out a bird, a dove, which returns with an olive leaf, signaling new life. In the Wind Waker, after the waters recede, the Koroks, which are leaf people, are at that time planting new trees and creating new land, continuing life forward, aiming to connect the islands back together. This parallel being that leaf signifies new life in both stories. It is very, very clear that there was inspiration from the story of the Bible and how it influenced this particular Zelda game. So in conclusion, do you think The Wind Waker is a direct adaptation? No. However, it draws a lot of similarities. At first glance, as a casual gamer, you might not notice these. But when you analyze how the flood happened, what the flood was aimed to stop, and the aftermath of when the flood has ceased and when the evil has been dealt with, and the object used to portray the beginning of new life, you see that even though it might not be a direct adaptation, that Christianity did have some inspiration on The Legend of Zelda. In this story, the King of Red Lions is the modern Noah, and the Great Sea present is the floods of that story. Thank you for watching. If you have any insight on whether it be in faith, in game lore, or just want to share your opinion on this video, and the fact that, if you can't tell, I didn't write a script for this, I'm kind of just spitballing it. Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see either more videos like this, or maybe a more scripted video before I start audio recording, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see something that talks about religion a little bit more, let me know. If you want to see more gaming content, also let me know. Other than that, if you like this video, you can comment, like, subscribe, send it to a friend. But I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Peace out.